Welcome to another Verbling class. Today's class is on public speaking. This scares a lot of people. In fact, it's not just about public speaking, it's about effective public speaking and presentation skills. Most of us are nervous or we stutter. Sometimes our voice will tremble a little bit, or we may even shake at the thought of speaking in front of a group of people. This is normal for most people that speak, but they get over it very quickly. I will teach you. In fact, I'll teach you that professional speakers are only nervous for a short time after they start speaking, and I'll teach you why. Hello.
Hello, Simon.
Sampoy, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. What's the weather like there? Is it warm?
It's not too warm, but pretty warm today.
What time is it?
Right now,
Yeah.
8 p.m.
Hey, oh, that's right. You're in North America. For a minute there, I thought you were in Thailand.
Oh, yeah. Thailand is 7 a.m.
Yes, yes. Are you in? No, I'm trying to remember where you're from. Where are you from?
Ohio, Thailand. I'm from
No,
Thailand.
no, but right now.
Oh, right now, it's in Ohio.
Ohio. Right, that's right. I have a lot of friends in Ohio.
Where are you from, Simon?
Well, I'm just north of Ohio in Ontario.
Oh, okay.
So, have you been having a good time here at Verbling?
Yes, I like it.
Good. So, what attracted you to tonight's class?
Maybe public speaking, because it's pretty hard for me.
Why is it hard?
I I don't know. I'm not good at speaking.
Well,
I
a
don't,
lot of people have trouble.
and I don't have much story to tell people.
Well, see, that's a bit of a myth. You actually do not need to have stories to tell people.
Hmm.
It depends on what reason you have to speak in front of people, right?
Yeah.
If it's work, well, then you obviously have information that you need to talk to them about. Okay?
Hmm.
But we'll get to that in a little bit. Let me just bring something up here because this might be very germane to our class today. Where is it? I'll try this here. Let's see. Presentation, speaking. Here we go. All right. I see Raphael just joined us too.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Raphael. What brought you to tonight's class?
Well, my computer and my mouse, I clicked and opened the window.
Okay, somebody with a sense of humor. Did you know it's a public speaking class?
It's nice. I like this class.
Good. Well, I think you'll enjoy tonight's class. We're going to talk about public speaking, and I'm going to try to give you at least 3 basic skills for effective public speaking, okay? Or presentation skills. They're very similar. In fact, guys, I don't know if you realize this, but actually, by just coming to class, I am speaking publicly to you guys. I'm using presentation skills, and I'll teach you about how I do it. Hello, Tito.
Hello, Sam. How are you?
Very good, thanks. How was school or work today?
It's as usual.
Well, good. Well, welcome to class. And hi, how are you? Earth to hide? Hello, calling Hyde. Hello, Hyde. All right, we might have an audio problem there. So, as I mentioned, this is a speaking skills class, specifically dealing with public speaking. Okay? This is a very important class. This class will obviously help you with English,
I'm
More
sorry.
importantly, this
I'm
you
sorry.
didn't know you were on mute, did you?
My computer stuck. It didn't work.
No worries.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. So as I was mentioning, today's theme is about effective public speaking and presentation skills. So how many of you are nervous at the thought of speaking in front of people?
Me, 100%.
Do you ever stutter or
I stutter.
yeah? How about anybody else? Do you tremble or do you shake when you get in front of others? No? Or are you guys just shy to admit to it? Because this is very common. In fact, many people are nervous, even professionals, before they speak. Okay? So it's very normal to be nervous. I think it was 2 days ago I had to speak in front of about 20, 25 people at my company. And I was more nervous about the results of what I was going to say than actually speaking, because I'm used to speaking in front of others. Why do you think professional speakers very quickly get over their nervousness?
I think they practice a lot.
Practice a lot?
I think they're familiar with speaking in the public.
Can you say that again, please?
I think they're familiar with speaking in front of public.
Okay, so they're familiar. They do it a lot.
Yeah.
Or we can say it depends on the audience you speak to them or you talk to them.
Okay, that's a good point. Raphael, do you have any friends?
Yes, I have some.
Okay. Hi, do you have friends?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very small number of friends.
Are either of you nervous when you speak in front of your friends?
Yeah, sometimes.
And why is that, Hyde?
I grew up in the countryside, so surrounding with a very small number. And since I was a child, I'm very shy and nervous.
Okay, good. All right. After you start talking with your friends, does that nervousness go away? Hyde?
Yeah, me.
Yeah, does that nervousness go away after you start speaking with them?
No.
No. Okay, well, this will be very helpful for you then.
Even this class, there are several students. I'm a little nervous.
Well-
No one believes that. No one believes that.
No, and but again, it's normal. Generally, though, when we speak with our friends, we're not as nervous as if you had to speak in front of, let's say, 50 strangers, right? So it does depend on the audience. Anybody?
Strangers are better than the acquaintances because I don't know that people.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Why do you think professional speakers get over their nervousness?
Training.
Training. Okay, very good. Training. Anything else?
I think they have some techniques to, I don't know, to focalize in some spots, and they try to, how can I say, they try to create a positive environment in their minds, and in which they are not talking to strangers. You know, they are talking to people with the same level of knowledge, or maybe with the same thoughts. You know, and I think it could be easier to make them give their speech, I would think.
Okay, very good. Guys, I'm going to give you 3 main reasons here why professional speakers and people like myself, I wouldn't say I'm a professional speaker, but I do a fair amount of it, and why when I come to class, I'm not nervous. Okay? So you guys said, well, they practice a lot. They do it a lot. Okay? Training. Well, the first thing is professional speakers, they know what they are talking about. They've prepared their material over and over again. They are often what you would call subject matter experts. In fact, in English, we just usually refer to these people as SMEs, S-M-E-S, subject matter experts. And for those of you who have just joined us, all that I'm speaking about today is going to be on the chalkboard in Google Drive. So if you open up Google Drive and look at the class notes, that's where I'm typing everything, okay? So know what you're talking about, because most people, once they start talking and they realize, oh, I didn't forget, I know what I'm talking about, they feel a sense of exhilaration, okay? So the next point...
Sense of what? Sorry?
Exhilaration.
Okay.
So the dictionary says exhilaration. Oh, did I spell that right? It doesn't say it's wrong, but it doesn't look right. Hold on a minute. Yeah, I did spell it wrong. I thought it didn't look right. So it's a feeling of excitement or happiness. Okay, that's what exhilaration is. Oh, I've lost the screen where you guys are. I've got too many windows open. Let's close that one. Here we go. Exhilaration. The second point is, and this is also very important, you've got to know your audience. Some of us like to tell stories, right? Who said stories? Helps to have a story, right? And I think Tito said it depends on the audience. Yes, it does. You have to know your audience. Are you speaking to a class full of students? Well, yes, I am, right? You're students. Okay, so I know I'm speaking to students, but what kind of students am I speaking to? Tito, what kind of students are you?
What kind?
I'm looking for adjectives to describe the type of students that attend my classes.
Maybe amateurs?
Amateurs? No, I wouldn't say amateurs.
Amateurs for learning?
No, I wouldn't say amateurs. There's really no professional, so not the word I'm looking for. Hey, let me give you guys a hint. How old are you guys? Are you children?
No, adults.
Yeah, adults. Right? So adult education is different than teaching children. You've got to be careful. When you talk to adults, when you teach adults, you can't be condescending. Right? It's a different type of learning. Okay, what else? What else are you guys? What are you doing here? Why are you here? Anybody?
You are studying English.
Learning English.
You want to learn English, right? In high school, in grammar school, grade school, a lot of us hate it and don't want to be there. So you're adults of various ages. You want to learn English and you're happy to be here. right? And what do you want? You want help with, and this is my view, pronunciation, vocabulary, and conversation. Okay? So it helps me to understand my audience. I also understand that most people like to laugh and have fun. So I know my audience. I think I know my audience well. Every now and then I get somebody that's a little different. But most of the time, I know my audience. Okay? Now, friends and family are easier to talk with. And we generally speak fast in these situations. Okay? This is kind of important. For those of you in my pronunciation class, that should be speak. Speaking fast can get us into trouble. I'll explain why. Okay. Number 3. Treat your audience as if they're your friends. Keiko, why would you treat the audience as your friend?
I treat them informally, respectful, and if possible, in a way fun, with fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Let's see who haven't we heard from. Ming. Hello, Ming.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Why, if we're going to speak in front of a group of strangers, why do we sometimes like to treat them as though they're our friends?
I'm guessing because when you talk to your friends, you talk in a normal, natural kind of way, so it's easier to listen to instead of just being monotone and talking like a robot or you're lecturing.
Yeah, very good. Okay. One thing, when we're talking to our friends, we tend to smile a lot. Okay? And here's a little trick here. Look, I'm smiling at you guys. What's your normal reaction? It's to smile back. Okay? Try it sometime. Just start smiling at somebody you don't even know. They might think you're crazy, but quite often they'll smile back. Treating your audience as your friends does 2 things. One, it helps you relax, and it removes that anxiety or tension that you feel. And it helps you better connect with your audience. Okay, and if you can connect, generally it's easier to convey your message. All right. Now we're going to get on to some more advanced stuff here. Raphael, when I teach, do I always speak fast?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't generally speak fast. Do I often pause?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any idea why I tend to pause when I speak?
Perhaps you want that we could digest the idea you shared with us, I think.
Yeah. Okay, let me give you an example, guys.
You need sometimes to think, you know.
Yeah, well, pay attention, guys. I'm going to read the paragraph that I just pasted on the screen there. I'm going to read it very fast, okay? Pausing, this is a great tool. Speak fast and people will get bored and lose interest. Stutter too much and they will lose interest. Speak slowly and they will stay focused on every word you speak. What's your opinion? How good was that delivery, that presentation?
It's too fast. We don't
Too
have
fast?
time to understand and to
Okay,
think.
you don't have time to understand or absorb the information. Okay? Too fast and you cannot absorb the information. Also, speak too fast and something else happens. People get annoyed. And they tune out. Right? Now, let me read it to you differently, and I'm going to pick on Tito this time. Pausing. This is a great tool. Speak fast, and people will get bored and lose interest. Stutter too much, and they will also lose interest. However, speak slowly. Add pauses, and they will stay focused on every word you say. Tito, how different was that?
Focus on every word you said.
Yeah. Pausing, guys, is one of the top secrets that most people don't realize when they're speaking. When I spoke really fast, you kind of got cluttered, confused, and didn't know what I was saying. Even in my language, if people talk too fast and too much, I lose interest. It's too much of a headache.
I think there is a right pace. You know, if you talk too slowly, I think people might lose the interest also.
If
Yeah, I agree
I
with that.
always talk slowly, yes, it's annoying.
It's like a time eater.
Yeah, so if you attend most of my classes, you'll see that I speak in almost a rhythm. I add a pause, and then I continue into that rhythm. Now, if it's an intermediate class, I might have more pauses, and I might speak a little slower. But using a pause, it's like watching a TV show. On a TV show, you get to the end, what? That's it? You can't wait to see the next one a week later. Same thing in speaking. Add a pause of a second, just a simple second. And people wait with anticipation. You draw them into your conversation more. Okay? So pausing is very effective. All right, we already talked about knowing your content, so I'll just paste that one there. A bit of a repeat of one we have done. Now, another thing too, guys, sometimes I'm pausing because I'm looking for information as well. Because on my screen I have many, many things up. Okay, number 6. Don't stand still. I don't really have a choice here because I have a very small box, a very small screen. If I move around too much, where did he go? Move too much this way, you can't see me. I have to stay in this small letterbox. However, if I'm on stage, it's good to move around. Use your hands, right? Also, if you're talking in front of a camera or you're being recorded, move your head, your shoulders. Don't stand straight, stand to an angle. Watch the news. You'll see that instead of standing like this and not really moving much, people are constantly moving their head and shoulders. And if you pay attention to this, it seems unnatural. People are moving around too much. Okay? Watch. Have you guys ever noticed that? Sampoi, have you ever noticed that when you watch TV?
When people move too much,
Yeah, like when you're watching the news, do you ever notice that they're moving their head a lot?
yes, they try to something that they want to emphasize, they will maybe nod or move their hand.
Yeah. This is normal. Whenever they interview people, you can tell if they're not used to being on TV because they just kind of stand, freeze, don't move a lot. If I was sitting down with you guys at a coffee shop and I wasn't moving a lot, you wouldn't think anything of it because that's normal. But on TV, it somehow looks strange. So, we've gotten to the end of the, well, we haven't got to the end of the class. We're halfway through the class. This is where I want to give you guys a chance to speak. Tito,
Yep.
tell me something about what you've heard in this class that surprises you or you never thought of.
Speak fast. Maybe make the audience confused.
Yeah.
So I had a presentation in my last year in college.
Mm-hmm.
I use my hands, I use my body, but my weakness is to speak fast. But I didn't know that I can make the audience confused.
Yeah. So what do you think would be helpful for you to remember not to speak fast?
Sorry?
So what can you do to avoid speaking fast? What reminders can you create?
As you said, to know my content very well, and try to have more confidence to get the words that I can use and that help my presentation.
Okay, that is good. Let me give you some other tips. Okay.
Go ahead.
This is something I use because if I'm teaching a beginner class, I need to talk very slowly. And I need to type what I'm saying. That's unnatural for me. So what I do is on the edge of my screen, I have in very big letters, don't talk fast. Okay? You could just say, speak slowly. Don't yell. If you have a paper in front of you, well then put that on your paper on each page. Maybe write it on your hand. Trust me, these techniques work. I use them all the time. And I have one at the top of my screen here that says, speak softly. Because it's like being on the phone. I tend to talk faster and then I lose my voice and I can't teach. Okay? So very good. Ming. Oh, sorry, Sampoi. Hello. Can you hear me, Sampoi? I see you're off mute. Let me go to Raphael. Raphael,
Yes.
what have you learned in this class so far? What's something useful that you can take away with you?
I think some interesting information. It's about we need to prepare, and know better about what we are talking about, the subjects of our speech. It, it could sound a little obvious, but most people don't understand that, and they come to give a speech without right preparation. So it's a kind of strange. It's a kind of new because it's some. Of course, we need to get ready for any kind of speech. This might help us, but some people simply don't understand that.
Yeah, and if you're giving a presentation, don't read everything off the PowerPoint slides. They should be there as a summary, right? So excellent. Some point, is your microphone working now? Maybe not. All right, Ming. Hello, Ming.
Hello. I am here.
Hi, tell me about something that you've learned from this class so far.
I thought pausing, use pausing to emphasize your points, to draw your audience into presenting little tip.
Okay, a couple of things
And you said, yeah.
Okay, so you said pausing.
You said to move your head or shoulder, and when you're on TV. Yeah, that I didn't know.
Okay, so pausing works very well. Emphasis works very well too. So the difference between emphasis and pausing and speaking slowly, let me speak slowly, for example. Don't stand still, move around, use your hands effectively. There is a whole lesson alone in working with your hands. Only presidents use podiums. I spoke slowly, but Ming, did that sound really good or did it just sound okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm going to use some emphasis. Don't stand still. Move around. Use your hands effectively. In fact, there's a whole lesson on working with your hands. And remember, only presidents stand at podiums. Ming, what was the difference there?
You emphasize in every sentence, so we remember that.
Now, Ming, we're losing you a little bit, but that's a good point. Okay? It's the emphasis. And I know it's tough, guys, because you're learning English. Most of you are advanced students. You're trying to focus on your pronunciation. You're trying to focus on the grammar. And you're trying to listen and understand. You're trying to listen to what somebody else is saying, understand it, and then reply. You might be thinking, how can I possibly use pauses effectively and emphasis at the same time? It's too much work. Who tends to feel that way? Adding pausing and emphasis, it's just too much work with what you already have to do.
Yes, I think it's too much work when
It is.
you're on stage and you're very nervous, and when you're nervous, you tend to speak very fast.
That's a good point. It is. So I'm going to tell you a little secret on how you can deal with that stress. When you get to speaking, you've already done your preparation, so don't worry about your material. You've probably written it down. So you want to practice, run through it. Try adding pauses. Have a friend listen to you or a coworker. The more you do it, the more you'll automatically start to add emphasis. Okay? And then again, have little notes where you're going to give the presentation reminding you, slow down, relax. Or don't forget to pause or add emphasis. By having these little reminders, you're not always having to worry about remembering it. But preparing, that's very important. If you prepare Sampoy, a lot of that extra work will start to come naturally. But here's something else too, guys. The more you do it, the better you'll get. So here's my next secret. If you do it more often, you'll get good enough at it that people in your company will start to notice this. And it will open up opportunities. So, and this is very important. In my class, I'll pick on you guys. I'll say, Tito or Sampoy, what do you think about this? But you'll notice, a lot of the times I also ask an open-ended question. What have you learned today, guys? Tell me about something in this lesson that you think is very useful. And I pause. Nobody answers. I say, anyone. This is your opportunity to speak, to practice speaking. It does several things for you. It helps you practice your English. You guys are paying for these classes. The more you speak, the better you'll get. The more you speak, the more confident you'll get. The more confident you get, the better you're going to be able to take these lessons and techniques back and use them with your company, your friends, family, or even at your school. Okay? Anyone else? Anything else you can add to this discussion?
About speech?
Yeah, things that are too difficult, too easy, too hard, something you've learned, or a question.
Maybe before speech, you should make materials for speech, and you should read that materials sometimes. Then you should summarize, remove the redundant. And about speech, too slow speaker, and the audience got bored. But if you want to speak a very important point, you should speak slower.
Yeah.
Then important is the pause in the many times. Then in the pause, audience can digest your speech.
Excellent, very good. So yeah, pausing can also be useful to allow your audience to digest.
Rhythm is very important. Always slow, always fast is not good.
Okay, another good point that Hai just brought up, and sorry if you can hear my phone ringing, guys. So some important points. In class, I try not to give you guys more than a couple of things to remember. In this class, I've given you about 6. I really only care if you can walk away with 1 to 3 items. Okay? So whenever you go to deliver a message, a presentation, or speech, it's like writing an essay. What is your thesis? What is your main discussion about? And what are 3 main points? Okay? Keep in mind throughout your presentation to address those 3 points. In my lessons, I usually only cover about 2 or 3 things, but I'll go over them. I'll give different examples. So by the end of the class, you guys shouldn't be too surprised. Let's go back to the beginning here. I first asked, how do you guys feel when you present? And we got various comments, nervousness, trembling of the voice, maybe some shaking. Then I ask you guys, well, what do professionals do to get over their nervousness? Okay, I got your information, and a lot of it does apply to professionals. And then what I did is I gave you my information that I had already prepared a long time ago, that I already knew a lot about, and I tied it directly to what you guys said. Okay? So what did that do? Well, it also gave credibility to what you were saying. Okay? And I took time to ask you guys questions about some of them. So know your audience. I gave you an example of how I use you guys. Adult education. You want to learn English. What you want help with, and that you want fun. Okay? Talked about how you should treat your audience. I went through all 6 items. There's really only 5, because one's kind of a repeat. And then I asked you guys, okay, what are good tips? What have you guys learned? And look, you've given me a good 8 different elements that all fit into what I've spent the first half of the class talking about. So you've got your main points. You keep coming back to them. Engage your audience. That's right, engage. Ask them questions. Put them on the spot. It's a little secret, but you're up there, you're nervous. Well, if you pick on somebody in the audience, I can tell you they're going to be a lot more nervous than you. Imagine sitting in a theater with 300 people and a comedian asks you a question. You're going to be a lot more nervous than he is. Okay? Now, somebody who hasn't spoken in this class so far is Keiko. Well, not much. Keiko.
I think that one thing very important is make the speaker to make questions to the audience to certify that they are understanding the message. As you ask us about the subject that you talk to us about, I think the speaker has to make questions to the audience always.
Yeah. Okay, this falls back to A, knowing your audience, okay? Know what you're talking about, and treating your audience as your friends. So if you're going to ask questions, you're engaging the audience. You're keeping them alert. It allows you to validate that they know what you've been talking to them about. But here's another little secret. If the audience knows you're going to pick on them, well, guess what? They're going to pay more attention, because what's worse than being asked a question, being a member of the audience, than not knowing the answer? Right, Raphael?
Right.
Yeah. Which is why I ask you guys a lot of questions. You know, if you come to my class, you can't just sit in the background and be quiet. If you guys are shy, I'll get you to talk. Isn't that right, Hyde? Right, Hyde? Although sometimes we do have audio problems.
Yes, I'm sorry.
It's okay. So, let's go right back to the beginning. And this is part of summarizing your information. So, if you're going to speak in front of an audience, very important to know what you're talking about. That involves knowing the information, being able to recall it. So you need to prepare over and over again. Know your audience. Are you speaking to a scientific community, a business community, or government organization? Are you talking about the delivery of water, the latest iPhone, popular news items. Know your audience so you know how to convey the message. This is something else that's important. This is all about message delivery, okay? So we've talked about, in this class, public speaking, okay? This is our topic today, public speaking. Now, I want to get this to my audience, okay? How do I deliver that message, okay? So I must research it first of all. I must know it. And if I know my audience, I know the type of vocabulary to use. If you're all scientists and I want to talk about physics, I'll start talking about, well, the perturbation of the lunar orbit around the Earth alters every 30 days. Well, that's very scientific. What does perturbation mean? But if I'm not talking to the scientific community, I might say something like this. The moon goes around the Earth every 30 days in a relatively stable orbit. Okay? The message is the same, but I am altering it to my audience so that I can better deliver the message. Okay? So, yes, know your audience. Treat your audience as though you're friends. It helps you relax. Inject humor where appropriate. Pausing and emphasis, also very important. Don't speak too fast. Okay? And don't stand still. Guys, I have no problem if you guys want to copy and take away what I've written in the lesson notes here in Google Drive. Feel free to take it. It's yours. You can also watch the class later. Okay? This class is recorded so you can go back and watch and get the information. We've got about 13 minutes left, so what I want to do now is open the class up to questions. Does anybody have a question?
Yeah, Simon, why not if you give me or give us one or two professionals that they can speak well, can present well?
You want me to give you 2 examples?
Yeah.
Okay. First example, Steve Jobs.
Yeah, I adore him.
Okay, and let me say even further. Steve Jobs and Apple in general, right?
Okay.
If you guys want to see an excellent presentation where the message is clear, people don't talk too fast. Oh, and just one more thing. The use of the language. Watch Apple podcasts.
I think Steve Jobs is the best.
He's very good. Okay?
Yeah.
Whether you like Apple or not, get past that. Watch their presentations. They're very good. People are always talking about them. So who else? Well, you're probably all familiar with President Obama. He's pretty good. Usually he has speech writers writing for him and has time to prepare. But I think Apple's much better. Apple's a great example, especially Steve Jobs.
What's your opinion lately in Bill Gates?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
What about Bill Gates?
Could you type that, please?
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
Microsoft CEO.
Well, I'm interested in him just because he's an interesting individual, but I don't think Bill Gates is as effective as Apple is at presenting.
Yeah.
But I don't think Bill Gates is a poor speaker. He's a good speaker. Anybody else? Who else has a question?
how can you treat someone when you are giving a speech and I know someone who thinks better than you, and you make a question and you can't and you don't know what the answer. What's the best thing to do in that time?
If you don't know the answer,
Yes.
you know what, Raphael, that's a good question. Let me get back to you on that because I don't have all the information. Do you mind if I get back to you at the end of class with that?
Okay.
Okay, that's one way of doing it. If you don't know, let people know. Do it in a smooth way. Now, that wasn't my best delivery, but if somebody asked me a question I didn't know, I say, you know, that's a really good question. We've looked into that, and I have some notes on it, but I don't think I can give you an appropriate answer right now. If you don't mind, I'll write that down, and I'll get back to you on that. Okay? If you start making stuff up, that just annoys people. It's pretty realistic that you're going to get a question that you're not going to know how to answer. Write down the question or even repeat it. So you want... ask me the question again, Raphael.
A question?
Yeah, ask me that same question again.
How are you going to react when someone makes a question and you don't know the answer?
That's a good question. So what do we do as speakers if somebody asks a question and we don't have the answer? You know what, Raphael? Unfortunately, I haven't spent a lot of time on that subject, but let me write down your question here. And do you mind if I get back to you by tomorrow, end of day?
No problems.
See, I've addressed his question. I didn't give him the answer he was looking for, but I assured him that I would get him the answer. Okay?
Some specialists say that you can, if you don't know the answer, you should give this question to the whole audience to check if someone knows the answer. Is that right?
Excellent. Right? Excellent, actually. It depends. Sorry, but yes, it depends. If you're a subject matter expert and you're talking about the formation of a new planet, chances are you should know this information and your audience isn't going to. You're a lecturer, okay? Or somebody asks you a question that's not directly related to what you're talking about. You can say, that's a great question. It's going to take me a bit of time to answer it, but it's a little bit off topic of what our theme is here. So if you don't mind, let me write this down on the board and I can talk with you offline about it. Offline means outside of the meeting. Now, there are times in class where a student will ask me a question and I don't immediately recall the answer. And what I can do is I can say, well, that's a great question. What do you guys think? And while you guys are thinking and answering, I can be Googling and searching for the answer. Okay?
I think what you have done, Simon, is the best answer.
Which one?
The Raphael's question.
Yeah.
What you've done is the best answer to tell him that you don't know, or I'll search about it for you. This is the best answer for the audience.
Yeah, and let me sum these up. Thank you, Tito. If you don't know the answer, 1, admit it, take down the question, and promise to get back to them, and do so. Yes. Number 2, okay? If it is not related to your topic, say so. Get back to your theme, and offer to get them the answer. Okay? This is all about facilitation. So let's say I'm giving a class on presentations, and I am. And somebody asked me a question, teacher, when I'm speaking, I have trouble with the past simple, or the simple past. How do you use that when you're talking about history? And I can say, well, that's a really good question, but you see, the answer to that is really takes us down the route of grammar. And as the focus of this class is not on grammar, you know what? Let me write that down, and I'm going to teach a grammar class next week. Why don't we talk about it then? But right now, I want to stay on the focus of presentations. Okay? There I may or may not know, but I want to keep my message clear. Don't let people ask you questions that take you off topic. Okay?
Yeah.
And again, the third example is ask your audience. But be careful here. Because if you're on a stage and you ask the audience and somebody gives you an answer and you don't know if it's the answer, you're going to look foolish. Okay?
Yeah.
The only way that might work is if you're on stage and you have one of these little microphones in your ear and somebody can talk to you off stage. Okay? But be careful with number 3. Remember, being honest is quite often the best policy. Any other questions? Anyone at all? Your opportunity to speak.
Is there a rule about the time we give a speech? You know, how can
Yes.
the period, the duration of the speech?
Yes, yes, and yes. Okay. So, how long is this class, Raphael?
1 hour. 1 hour.
1 hour. Okay. How many times have you guys come into class and I'm already talking? Open question. Hyde, when you come into class, am I often already talking, teaching?
Along this class, or
All of my classes. Have you guys come into my class and I'm already teaching?
all classes
Yeah. When I start
past?
when I start a class, if there's nobody here, I start teaching. The reason I do that is I show students that I start on time. If you come to my class late, you're going to miss out on something. But I also finish on time.
55
It's my way of respecting your time. While I always expect to start on time, I finish on time so you're not late for your next class. Okay? It's all about expectations. There's nothing worse than attending a lecture that just goes on and on and on and on, or a meeting. There are some people you know never keep to the time, and it's frustrating. The next question you might ask is it okay to walk out on a meeting or a lecture if it runs over? And the answer is yes. If you already have another meeting, you can excuse yourself, sorry, I do have another meeting, and I have to go. Okay? But this is very normal. So I say that as we come up to the last minute of class. And I want to say one more time, guys, my wife is about to have a baby. It can happen any day now. It could happen tonight, tomorrow, or the next day, but it will happen before the weekend. So I apologize ahead of time if I have to cancel any classes. But here's the positive side. I'm going to be off work for 4 weeks, but I'll still be teaching, which means I may take more classes during the day. So I thank you guys for your patience and understanding as I go through this transition. And I'll be back with more classes. Also, please send me a chat where you'd normally ask a teacher about private classes, you can just send me a regular question. If you want me to teach a class on a certain topic, such as public speaking, I'd be happy to do so. We could also get into other classes on small talk and the use of icebreakers in public speaking. How to better relax and relate to your audience. I'll be booking a class like that in the next couple of weeks. So guys, thank you very much for showing up. I hope you found this class useful.
Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
You and
You're welcome, guys.
congratulations.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.